If you're over 60, the fish you choose isn't just about taste, budget, or habit anymore. It becomes a question of whether you're feeding your body what helps it heal or what slowly wears it down without making a sound. And that's the tricky part. At this age, damage doesn't always announce itself with pain. It builds quietly in your arteries, in your brain cells, in the delicate tissues behind your eyes, until one day it shows up as fatigue, foggy thinking, high blood pressure, joint stiffness, or a diagnosis you never expected. Most people don't even realize that the wrong fish can accelerate that process, while the right one can slow it, reverse it, or sometimes stop it altogether. Because fish isn't just protein, it's chemistry, it's biology. It's a package of fats, minerals, pollutants, or anti-inflammatory nutrients, depending entirely on which one you pick. And once it enters your body, your cells don't care what the label said or whether it was on sale. They only care about what that fish actually contains. And for seniors, that matters more than ever. Your detox system isn't as fast as it once was. Your metabolism doesn't bounce back the way it used to. Your brain is more sensitive to inflammation, and your heart is more responsive to the quality of fats you eat. So today, I want to pull back the curtain and show you the 4 fish that quietly push your body in the wrong direction, and the 4 that act like medicine from the sea, supporting your heart, your memory, and your energy in ways you can feel and in ways you can't. When you cross 60, your body doesn't stop working, it just works differently. The systems that once handled stress, toxins, and poor food choices without much complaint now need a little more help, a little more patience, and a lot more precision. And that's exactly why the kind of fish you eat becomes far more important than it was at 30 or 40. At this stage, every bite affects how efficiently your cells repair themselves, how quickly your brain recovers from daily wear and tear, and how smoothly your metabolism keeps you moving through the day. Fish can be one of the most powerful foods you choose, but only if you pick the right ones. The first thing to understand is that your detox system slows down with age. The liver and kidneys still function, of course, but they don't clear contaminants at the same speed. It's like switching from a 4-lane highway to a 2-lane road. Things still move along, but congestion happens faster. So when a fish is high in mercury or loaded with microplastics or carries residues from polluted waters, your body doesn't process those substances as easily as it once did. They linger, they accumulate, and that buildup can subtly affect memory, energy, and even your mood long before you notice anything wrong. Then there's inflammation, the quiet driver behind so many problems that appear in our later years. Chronic inflammation doesn't always show up as pain. Sometimes it shows up as brain fog, slow digestion, rising blood sugar, or cardiovascular strain. Certain fish actually calm inflammation because they contain clean omega-3 fats, your body's natural repair tools. But other fish, especially those farmed or fed unnatural diets, can carry oxidized fats, inflammatory compounds, and even antibiotic residues. Instead of soothing your system, they irritate it further, pushing your body into a constant low-level battle it doesn't need at this stage of life. Metabolism also changes with age. Your cells aren't as quick to generate energy, and your muscles aren't as responsive to the nutrients you give them. You can still thrive, but you need cleaner fuel. Fish should be one of the best fuels: lean protein, healthy fats, essential minerals. But when the fish is contaminated, raised in crowded tanks, or exposed to heavy metals, it becomes the opposite. Mercury, for example, interferes with the mitochondria inside your cells, the little engines that keep everything running. Seniors often feel tired not because they're aging, but because those engines aren't getting the clean support they need. A high mercury fish takes more than it gives, and your body pays the price in slow, subtle ways. And then there's the brain. The human brain thrives on DHA, the omega-3 fat found naturally in certain fish. DHA is the structural material of your brain cells. It keeps them flexible, responsive, and connected. After 60, protecting brain function becomes one of the most important goals you can have. When you eat fish high in clean omega-3s, you're feeding your brain what it needs to stay sharp. But when the fish contains pollutants or oxidized oils, the brain becomes more vulnerable to inflammation, slower communication, and oxidative stress. It's not about fear. It's about understanding that every bite has the potential to support or stress the organ that defines who you are. Microplastics add another layer. They aren't just physical particles, they carry chemicals that disrupt hormones and metabolism. Younger bodies can often buffer some of these effects, but seniors are more sensitive because hormonal balance becomes more delicate with age. A small disruption can have a big impact on sleep, appetite, memory, and even weight regulation. So the quality of the fish you choose can either keep your hormones steady or throw them off rhythm. The truth is, fish isn't automatically healthy. It depends on where it lived, what it ate, and what it absorbed during its lifetime. And once you reach 60, your body becomes more transparent, meaning the food you eat shows up more quickly in your health, your mood, and your resilience. The right fish can lower inflammation, improve brain function, strengthen the heart, and support steady energy. The wrong fish can quietly add toxins, irritants, and inflammatory stress your system doesn't need. That's why understanding the difference matters more now than ever. There are certain fish that look harmless on the plate, taste wonderful when cooked, and are marketed as healthy, yet for someone over 60, they can quietly work against your body. Not in dramatic, obvious ways, but in slow, cumulative ways that affect the brain, heart, metabolism, and immune system. And the tricky part is that most people have no idea what's hiding underneath the surface of these fish. So let's walk through 4 of the most problematic ones. Not to create fear, but to give you clarity. Because once you understand what's really going on, the choices become simple. The first one is swordfish. It's a beautiful fish, mild flavor, easy to grill, and often recommended at restaurants. But swordfish sits at the top of the food chain. That means it spends years eating smaller fish that have already absorbed mercury from the ocean. Mercury doesn't leave, it accumulates. By the time swordfish reaches your plate, those levels can be sky high. For a younger person, the detox system can buffer some of that load. But after 60, the liver processes toxins more slowly, and the brain becomes far more sensitive to heavy metals. Mercury interferes with the mitochondria, your cellular engines, and it disrupts nerve communication. So what feels like forgetfulness, mild confusion, or slow thinking can sometimes be linked to a steady diet of high mercury fish. It doesn't make swordfish bad. It makes it incompatible with a body that deserves protection, not added stress. Then there's farmed salmon. Not all farmed salmon is the same, but the cheap, mass-produced kind is the one you want to be careful with. In the wild, salmon swims long distances, eats natural marine foods, builds lean muscle, and accumulates clean omega-3 fats. But in overcrowded farms, salmon are fed processed pellets, exposed to antibiotics to control disease, and surrounded by waste-filled water. Instead of omega-3 rich flesh, you often get fish that contains inflammatory omega-6 fats, residues of antibiotics, and sometimes even coloring agents added to make the flesh look pink. A senior's immune system doesn't manage chronic low-grade inflammation as well as it used to. The wrong fat profile in farmed salmon can stoke inflammation, raising the risk of stiffness, high blood pressure, and metabolic strain. It's the difference between fish acting like medicine and fish acting like an irritant. The label won't tell you that, but your body will. Another one to be cautious with is king mackerel. Just like swordfish, it's a large predator fish that accumulates mercury, and the levels can be surprisingly high. But there's another issue. The fats in king mackerel spoil easily. When those fats oxidize, they become inflammatory, almost like rust forming inside your cells. Seniors tend to have more oxidative stress to begin with, so adding more fuel to that fire isn't helpful. People often eat mackerel believing they're getting heart-healthy benefits, but king mackerel is not the same as small, clean varieties. The combination of mercury, oxidized fats, and environmental contamination makes it a fish your body has to work too hard to handle. Over 60, you want foods that lighten the metabolic load, not increase it. The fourth one might surprise you, tilapia. It's one of the most affordable and widely available fish, which is why many families eat it weekly. But tilapia is usually farmed in ways that create nutritional problems. Instead of building omega-3 fats, tilapia accumulates omega-6 fats from its feed, corn, soy, and other low-quality ingredients. Omega-6 isn't bad on its own, but when it becomes dominant, it drives inflammation. And tilapia has one of the worst omega-6 to omega-3 ratios of any fish. For someone over 60, inflamed arteries, stiff joints, and chronic blood sugar swings are already concerns. Adding a fish that behaves more like fried oil than like heart-healthy seafood doesn't support your long-term health. Tilapia may be inexpensive, but it's nutritionally cheap as well, and your body deserves better than that. Each of these fish carries its own quiet burden: mercury, antibiotics, oxidized fats, or inflammatory compounds. None of them hurt you immediately. There's no dramatic symptom after a single meal. But seniors don't need dramatic damage to experience consequences. It's the small, consistent exposures that matter most. What you want at this stage of life are foods that help your cells repair, ease inflammation, support the brain, and keep your metabolism steady. These 4 fish simply make that job harder. Understanding what to avoid isn't about restriction. It's about removing the hidden stressors so your body has room to heal, repair, and thrive. When you're over 60, the goal with food isn't just to avoid harm. It's to choose ingredients that actively help your body heal, repair, and stay sharp. And the right fish can do exactly that. Some species are so rich in clean omega-3s, antioxidants, and essential minerals that they behave more like natural medicine than a simple meal. They nourish your brain, strengthen your heart, support your muscles, and calm the inflammation that tends to creep in with age. The trick is knowing which fish deliver those benefits without exposing you to unnecessary toxins. 4 of them stand out because they consistently offer clean nutrition your body can use immediately. Wild-caught salmon is one of the most powerful foods a senior can put on the table. It isn't just the omega-3s, even though they're important for easing inflammation and supporting heart rhythm. It's also the astaxanthin, the natural pigment that gives salmon its color. Astaxanthin is one of the strongest antioxidants found in nature. It protects the brain's sensitive tissues from oxidative damage and supports the tiny energy factories inside your cells. Seniors often feel drained, not because they're aging, but because their mitochondria aren't getting the support they once did. Wild salmon delivers that support. And the best part is that its nutrients are absorbed easily, without your body having to work overtime. You feel steadier energy, more mental clarity, and even smoother digestion with regular intake. Sardines are another remarkable choice, though they don't always get the attention they deserve. They're small, which means they don't accumulate mercury the way larger fish do, but they're dense with nutrients: omega-3s, vitamin D, calcium, selenium, and CoQ10. For a senior, that's an entire repair kit in one small fish. Vitamin D supports bone strength, selenium helps detoxify the body, and CoQ10 fuels the heart. Many older adults take supplements for these nutrients without realizing a simple serving of sardines gives them naturally, in forms the body recognizes instantly. And because sardines feed low on the food chain, they stay clean and surprisingly safe. You're getting purity, not pollutants. Trout, especially rainbow or lake trout from clean waters, is another fish that supports aging bodies beautifully. It provides a steady dose of omega-3s just like salmon, but with a lighter flavor that some people prefer. What makes trout special is how efficiently it supports metabolic health. Its fats help regulate insulin sensitivity, making it easier for your body to manage blood sugar, a challenge that becomes more common after 60. And its high-quality protein aids muscle maintenance. Muscle loss is one of the silent drivers of fatigue and instability in older adults. Eating fish that naturally supports muscle repair can help keep strength, balance, and mobility intact. Trout offers that support without putting stress on the liver or digestion. And then there's herring, a fish often overlooked but deeply beneficial. Like sardines, herring is small, clean, and loaded with omega-3s. But herring also brings something else to the table. It supports the brain's protective membranes. DHA, one of the primary fats in herring, is the same fat that makes up much of the human brain. When seniors eat DHA-rich fish regularly, they're essentially giving the brain the material it needs to stay flexible, communicate efficiently, and resist inflammation. This is especially important for memory, focus, and mood stability. Herring also contains vitamin B12, which helps maintain nerve health, a crucial factor as you get older. When B12 is low, energy drops and the nervous system weakens. Herring helps replenish those stores naturally. Each of these fish offers not just nutrients, but targeted support for the systems that matter most as you age: the heart, brain, muscles, and metabolism. The omega-3s help keep inflammation under control. The minerals support detoxification. The antioxidants protect delicate tissues. And the clean sourcing means your body gets help, not harm. These fish don't demand much from your body to process them, which is why seniors feel the benefits more quickly and more noticeably. When you bring these 4 fish into your weekly routine, you're not just eating, you're investing in clearer thinking, steadier energy, healthier arteries, and stronger muscles. Small choices create big changes, especially after 60, and these fish make those changes easier, safer, and more enjoyable. Choosing the right fish is only half the story. Once you reach 60, how you select it, prepare it, and even how much of it you eat can make the difference between giving your body a clean boost or accidentally loading it with things your system has a harder time handling. And the truth is, most people never learn these details. They buy whatever looks fresh, cook it however they always have, and hope the nutrients make their way through. But your body becomes more sensitive with age, not weaker, just more transparent. It shows you the results of your choices more quickly, which means a little knowledge goes a long way. When you're shopping, the first thing to look at is origin. Fish from clean, cold waters naturally carries fewer contaminants. Labels that say wild-caught Alaska, Pacific Coast, or Nordic regions are usually reliable. If a package says farm-raised, that doesn't automatically make it bad, but it does mean you need to slow down and read more carefully. Crowded fish farms can lead to higher antibiotics, poorer diets, and more inflammation-producing fats if the label doesn't specify responsibly farmed, sustainably raised, or no antibiotics. You can assume it's the cheaper, lower-quality version your body doesn't need. The cleaner the water the fish comes from, the cleaner the nutrients you receive. Bar. The next detail is freshness. Older adults sometimes brush this off, thinking freshness is just about flavor, but it's also about oxidation. Fish contains delicate fats that start to break down very quickly. When those fats oxidize, they become inflammatory, the opposite of what you want. Fresh fish has a mild smell. If it smells strong, that isn't character, that's oxidation. The flesh should spring back when gently pressed, not feel mushy. Even frozen fish is fine, as long as it was frozen quickly after harvesting. Modern flash freezing actually locks in nutrients better than fish sitting fresh in a display case for days. Cooking matters too. High heat can destroy the very omega-3 fats you're eating fish for. You don't need fancy techniques, just gentle heat. Baking, steaming, or lightly pan-searing keeps the oils intact. When you cook fish until it's dry or crisped at high temperatures, you lose nutrients and increase oxidation. For seniors, nutrient preservation is more important than complexity. Simple cooking keeps the medicine inside the fish instead of burning it away. And avoid drowning fish in heavy oils. Extra oils oxidize faster on heat, especially vegetable oils like soybean or corn. If you need moisture, a little olive oil or lemon works beautifully. Herbs not only add flavor, but have antioxidants that help protect the fish's delicate fats as you cook. You're not just seasoning, you're supporting the biology of the meal. Portion size is another area where age makes a difference. When you were younger, you could eat huge portions without much consequence because your metabolism processed proteins and fats efficiently. After 60, digestion slows just enough that large portions can create metabolic strain. You don't need massive servings to get the benefits. 4 to 6 ounces, about the size of your palm, is enough to fuel your brain and muscles without making your digestive system work harder than necessary. Smaller, consistent servings are easier on your liver and give your body a steady flow of anti-inflammatory nutrients. If you're worried about contaminants, there are simple ways to reduce them. Removing the skin on certain fish can lower exposure to fat-stored pollutants. Trimming darker fatty areas can reduce the concentration of toxins, since harmful substances often accumulate in those spots. These steps don't eliminate everything, but they lighten the load. And when you combine them with clean sourcing, you've already done most of the work. Canned fish can also be a smart option. Seniors often overlook it, assuming it's lower quality, but canned sardines, salmon, and herring are usually wild caught and processed quickly. They hold on to omega-3 seconds well and are budget friendly. Just choose versions packed in water or olive oil and avoid those in cheap seed oils. The goal is simple: give your body nutrients in a form it can use without asking it to fight off contaminants. You want fish that supports your heart instead of stressing it. Fish that feeds your brain instead of inflaming it. Fish that keeps your metabolism steady instead of burdening it. When you choose carefully, cook gently, and eat mindfully, fish becomes one of the easiest tools you have for staying sharp, strong, and active as the years continue. When you step back and look at the whole picture, it becomes clear that choosing the right fish after 60 isn't about restriction, fear, or perfection. It's about understanding how your body works now, how it processes fats differently, how it handles toxins more slowly, how inflammation shows up more quietly, and how your brain depends on clean nutrients more than ever. You're not trying to overhaul your entire life. You're simply choosing foods that help your body work with you, not against you. And fish is one of those foods that can either be a lifelong ally or a subtle burden, depending on which ones you bring into your kitchen. The beauty of this is that none of these changes require you to count calories or memorize complicated nutrition charts. The science is real, but the application is simple. Clean water equals clean fish. Smaller fish equals fewer contaminants. Natural diets produce natural fats, and your body responds to those clean, natural inputs with better energy, clearer thinking, and a calm, steady metabolism. These aren't dramatic overnight changes. They're gradual shifts you feel over weeks and months. More ease in your joints, fewer brain fog mornings, steadier digestion, more stable mood, better sleep. That's what happens when inflammation quiets down and your cells finally get the fuel they've been waiting for. The point isn't to make you afraid of the wrong fish. It's to remind you that your body still wants to heal, even in your 60s, 70s, and beyond. Healing never stops being possible. It just requires different tools. When you were younger, your body could clean up mistakes quickly. Now it needs more cooperation. And when you give it that cooperation through better choices, cleaner foods, and consistent habits, it responds with resilience. Your metabolism becomes steadier. Your brain becomes sharper. Your heart becomes calmer. Your muscles recover more easily. These things don't disappear with age. They just become more sensitive to the quality of what you consume. Long-term change doesn't come from fear. It comes from clarity. When you understand why something matters, you're more willing to make the shift. And that's the goal here. Not perfection, not restriction, just understanding. If you simply replace a few harmful choices with a few healing ones, your body will feel the difference. You don't need to cut out everything you enjoy. You just need to know which fish feed inflammation and which ones fight it, which fish add toxins and which ones remove them, which fish stress your metabolism and which ones support it. That's a small amount of knowledge with a big payoff. And the truth is, you don't have to make every change at once. Maybe you start by switching from farm salmon to wild caught. Maybe you swap tilapia for trout. Maybe you add sardines once a week for your heart and brain. Maybe you learn to cook fish on lower heat to protect the fats. These small habits, repeated over time, create the long-term metabolic shift that helps you stay active and independent. The healthiest seniors aren't the ones who follow strict diets. They're the ones who make consistent, thoughtful choices that reduce inflammation and increase nutrient density. What you're doing is giving your body cleaner information. Food is information. Every bite sends signals to your metabolism, your brain, your hormones, your immune system. The wrong fish sends confusing signals, stress signals that make your cells work harder. The right fish sends healing signals, anti-inflammatory messages, steady energy, stable blood sugar, stronger neural connections. Your body hears all of this. And after 60, it depends on that clarity. You're not too old to benefit from better choices. In fact, you're at the age where you benefit the most. Your body is incredibly responsive when you remove the hidden stressors and give it the raw materials it needs. Clean fish, gentle cooking, smart portions, consistent habits. These are not dramatic life changes, they are quiet investments. And with time, those investments pay you back with better mobility, sharper thinking, and a calmer, steadier internal chemistry. Think of this not as a diet, but as a partnership with your body. A long-term relationship of respect. You give it cleaner fuel, and it gives you another year of strength. You reduce inflammatory foods, and it rewards you with more clarity and mobility. You choose fish that help rather than harm, and your body responds with the kind of resilience you may have thought was gone. It's not gone. It's still there, waiting for you to support it. And now you have the knowledge to do exactly that.